Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
Freed on Business. This is our annual show where we interview one of the bright young minds that's at the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies. Today, we're going to be interviewing Ithan Ash, who is in the real estate program. I'm going to be going up there this week and meeting Ithan in person at the annual board retreat. It's going to be great. I'm going to see all my friends. They represent all the product types all over the country, all over the world, actually. It's fascinating. It's a wonderful event. And I'm very excited to see them. I'm wearing my Gator real estate pin today, not my bright orange and blue tie like I did the last time when I interviewed Mr. Becker. I want to remind everybody that the University of Florida Bergstrom Center for Real Estate Studies is a sponsor of the show, has been our longest running sponsor. And then, of course, you've had Warren Henry going on 16 years. Next week, we'll be talking about what I did with my commission for my big deal last week. Oh, you already know I got a new car from Warren Henry. Is actually sitting there with the sales manager when the call came that the deal closed, and everybody cracked up. I want to remind everybody this is episode 837. We're going to be interviewing Ithan Ash, pronounced Ethan. I had to make sure I got that right. I want to remind everybody this is show 837 with our special guest. We're streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. A young person like Ithan will be blasted all over the internet with all this. Yes, Ithan, we're also on Spotify and Apple, whatever they call them, podcasts. We're everywhere. You can look for @Freed on Business or @Jim Freed. And I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry who got me my great new Lincoln Nautilus. There's like all these different sizes. It's a Nautilus. I'm taking the train, Ethan, and with a bunch of folks, with a bunch of my compadres from the board, and then we're going to take a van up there. I want to thank Mike Narula and Scott Sherman for putting that part on. And now on with the show. We're talking with Ithan Ash. He's a student at the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies. Well, I guess you're in the Nathan Collier MSRE program, right?
That's correct. Thanks for having me, Jim.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Love Nathan, love Angela. They're tremendous people. I want to thank them for getting our special guest at the conference, the basketball coach whose name escapes me right now, but I can't wait to get a picture with him.
Todd Golden.
There you go. Todd Golden. I'm going to put his picture right next to the one I had with Billy Donovan, when Billy Donovan looked like you, Ethan. Now, Ethan, tell me a little bit about, well, first of all, where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm from Sarasota, Florida, West Coast.
Very cool. Very cool. I have lots of friends in Sarasota. The Semblers come to the top of my mind. Do you know the Semblers?
Yeah, we met them at the ICSC conference a week ago in Orlando.
Oh, great. Oh, great. That's wonderful. Also, lots of other people in retail got their start in Sarasota, including Rachel Ween. Have you ever met Rachel? She's on the board.
Yeah, she's with the consulting company, right? She has
her own consulting firm. The woman rocks the world in retail.
Yeah.
So, Ethan, why'd you pick UF? You were there undergrad, and then you just went right into the MSRE?
Yes. UF's really good at kind of getting you thinking about your master's program as an undergrad. So as I was wrapping up my finance degree, I was kind of trying to figure out where I wanted to apply it. And I took Dr. Ling's course, Real Estate Analysis, and it all kind of just clicked. I really enjoyed the real estate finance, and I kind of realized, okay, what careers can I make out of this? And that was when I started thinking MSRE. So
yeah, I met Dr. Ling when he was like a grad student, just to put it
wow.
in perspective. Yeah, I'm an old person, but I've done a lot of good deals. So, I know a lot of people. So you picked UF. When I was there was no MSRE, so I got my undergrad in real estate and urban analysis, and then I got my MBA with a concentration in real estate. So tell me a little bit about your peers in the real estate program.
Yeah, so the 2026 class of MSRE, we have 45 students. The program's really great at putting everyone in the same classes. So you're with your cohort for every single class you have in the real estate specific classes. So you spend time with them in class, out of class, and it kind of creates a really good community. And then you have the 2027s who are a year below us. So we all do events as MSREs, but you're with your cohort for most of the time. So it's a really nice sense of community, and you can kind of tackle your classes together.
So you got an internship in real estate over the summer. Where'd you work?
Yeah, so I worked for JLL as a capital markets intern, their Tampa, Florida office. I got the unique experience to rotate through the debt and equity team as well as the investment sales team. So I've kind of got great exposure to both sides of the equation, and I really enjoyed it.
Who were the people that you worked with?
So the
Give
head
me
of the
a shout
debt
out.
team was Lee Weaver, if you're listening, and Frank Carrera on the sales team.
You got to make sure they're listening, because after this goes live on Wednesday, you got to flip it out at them and say, "Hey guys, I gave you a shout out." Now, my personal mentor, I worked in Orlando for one of the big. Listen to me, I sounded like I lived in Orlando, but there for a minute. I worked in Orlando. Oh, I did it again. With one of the big accounting firms where I did a bunch of feasibility study and learned the nuts and bolts of real estate that I actually applied what I learned at UF. So the internship is really important. I worked for somebody, after that I moved to Tampa, where I worked for a company called Sonnenblick Goldman. They basically became the capital markets group at Cushman and Wakefield. But the person that mentored me, I'll give a shout out to Sue Karras, is one of the senior people at JLL in the Atlantic coast area in Washington, D.C. And of course, one of the guys I got my start with in the capital markets business at Sonnenblick Goldman is a guy named Manny De Zaraga. You ever hear of Manny?
Yep, down in Miami.
Yeah, Manny and I got our start together. He's a real superstar. And then, of course, I knew a bunch of the other JLL folks in capital markets. It's a great place to start. I really do think that that's a wonderful place to get your start, because you touch a lot of deals, you learn a lot of things. And the real important thing is to learn as much as you can from people who are experts, because real estate is a mentorship business. Do you have somebody on the board that's been assigned to you as a mentor?
Yeah. So we just actually got our mentors 2 days ago. So Adam Singer from Rialto, and then Jeremy Pino from Walker and Dunlap. So got some debt side with the Rialto business, and then the brokerage side as well with Walker and Dunlap.
Rialto's tremendous. I remember when, oh God, I'm such an old person. I remember when they got their start. It's a great place. It's also a great place. Remember, these are people that'll stick with you for your whole life if you work it right. I've mentored a whole bunch of people, very successful in their own right. It makes me proud to know that I'm involved with UF, and they keep coming up with such wonderful young people like yourself. So tell me a little bit about yourself. There you go. Make believe it's an interview.
Yeah, so grew up in Sarasota, Florida. My whole family's from New York. When I was 11, I started an international travel basketball academy. So I had teammates from all over the world, really kind of got to see diverse perspectives from a young age, and even started learning some of their languages to help facilitate practices and kind of create a good group when we got into games. So that was something that really kind of instilled that team environment in me early on. And then kind of just took it from there, and always wanted to come to UF. Grew up huge Gators fan. I've been coming to games since I was probably 10 years old. So yeah, I always knew I wanted to come here.
My signed Billy Donovan mini basketball right there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I've got the greatest stuff. Believe me, if you want to get some great UF tchotchkes, you got to come down to Miami one day and go through my storage thing with me.
Oh, I'd love to.
So you like capital markets. What appeals to you about capital markets?
Kind of like I was mentioning to you a little bit earlier, the real estate finance kind of just clicked for me, and I was trying to figure out the way to apply my finance undergrad. And after taking Dr. Link's course, it really just kind of all made sense. So capital markets seemed like the perfect start to a career. Like you mentioned, you see a lot of deals, you get a lot of exposure to different asset classes, and just the things that may go wrong during the process and how to kind of, avoid those in the future. So it just seemed like a great place to start, a lot of deal volume, and working for a great team. Like you said, tons of experts.
Oh, that's great. Boy, Tim Becker really, really hit it out of the park when he served you up. So, UF has this really great technical background. Tell me about you guys have like competitions nationally and stuff like that. How do you guys fare in those against all the big fancy schools?
Yeah, so we had the NYU case competition, and don't quote me here, but I'm pretty sure we won last year.
Did. I was fishing. I knew that.
Yep. So that one was a really great one, and I know we're involved in other case competitions as well. So if you know more about that, you could obviously chime in.
But I knew where I want to go with this. You nailed it. You got what I wanted out of that. What I wanted to say was that all the people at UF have these great baseline technical skills, and that's really important. But do you know why the folks at JLL really are going to like you? or Walker and Dunlop or wherever. There's lots of places. I have great ideas for you for myself. But you know why they're really going to like you?
Is it more the soft kind of personal skills?
Boy, you hit it again. Yes, exactly. Everybody has the technical skills, but I ran into one of the big national. Who was I talking to that said this to me the other day? Where was I? Monday? I don't remember. I'm getting old. So I was talking to one of these really big national hitters from one of the big companies, and he said that they've stopped recruiting the Ivy League, and they've started recruiting the Big Ten and the SEC in general.
Wow.
Well, that's because the kids from the SEC and the Big Ten are grounded and more well-rounded. They don't live in their little quant universe, and you need to be more than just a quant person. Now you can buy quant, with ChatGTP.
Oh yeah, it's getting really powerful.
So, have you guys used artificial intelligence yet as your agent at UF in your studies?
So UF has introduced 2 new courses. One of them is business intelligence and artificial intelligence as well. So that's a course kind of designed to expose you to some of the nuances within AI and not how to, but you're looking to see how can they work with it and not how is it going to take away jobs. So you're looking to work with it and maybe become like a data manager, kind of just understand the basics behind it.
Yeah, I got to give my nephew a plug here. My nephew was an economics major and studied big data. I told, this was 5 years ago when he told me, I said, "You're absolutely out of your mind. That's the most boring thing in the world." Today, he runs the basically the data management system for one of the big international insurance brokers. I will admit that he did go to Georgia. What are you going to do?
Oh.
What are you going to do?
We'll let him off the hook this time.
I love him. I still talk to him all the time. He keeps me focused on the right things to do. And if you listen to what I called it, I said using AI as an agent. The folks at the Miami Podcast Studio and I have been using AI as our agent on the podcast for well over a year now. We use it to design the announcements, and what we're going to do is it's Miami Podcast Studios. Can I give out your secret on this? Okay, I got 2 thumbs up from them. So basically, what we do is we take this show, we run the transcript. We create a transcript, then we run it through AI, and then AI tells us how we should write everything up. But it's not always right. We manage the AI, but like I said, the AI works for us. So, Ithan, if you were going to pick your location where you were going to work, where would you want to work?
So I'm most interested in the Southeast, Tampa, Atlanta, Charlotte, Austin. Those are kind of the major ones right now, Miami as well. But yeah, I grew up a South Florida, kid and go to the Northeast. It's cold.
Hey, bud, listen, I could serve you up a tremendous job in Chicago, and you'd work
I like Chicago
in New York
too.
Also. Would you like that?
Yeah, I'd love it.
Remember to pigeonhole me. I'll make sure I send this video to the person I'm thinking about.
You got it.
So how are your grades? Are your grades good? They wouldn't have picked you to be on here if you weren't a great student.
Yeah, so my undergrad GPA was a 3.93 through the finance program. So it's a balance between working hard, but also, you're going to an SEC school. I love the football games. I love the basketball games. We went to every single one for the national championship run. So, you got to pick your times, but you can definitely get the best of both worlds.
Oh, what happened to my – oh, there it goes. This one's just for you. This hat's as old as you are, Ithan. So
that's awesome.
So, yeah, we got the Miami Podcast Studios. They're Seminole fans. We'll talk about that later in the year in December when we play them in hoops and football.
Oh, yeah.
It's early November. But anyway, Ithan, that's not the one that's signed by Billy D. That one, I have a different one that's signed by Billy D. My wife and I met him at the hotel we're going to stay at. He was having a recruiting breakfast back in the day with 2 guys, and my wife didn't know who he was. I could barely, eat my breakfast while he was sitting there watching him. Recruit what eventually became some of the national championship teams, the back-to-back folks. So, Ithan, what is the most interesting thing that you learned at, we'll say JLL? What was the most interesting takeaway from JLL?
So I'm going to give you 2 answers. So you kind of get the debt rotation, kind of understanding how different deals fit into different lender profiles was definitely my biggest takeaway from that side of the team, right? So if you got a new vintage, and we were doing multifamily, so if you have a new vintage multifamily asset, you know who the lenders might be for that deal. And then on the sales side, kind of just getting the exposure to the full life cycle of the asset. I think kind of seeing it from the developer to going to eventually the sale, it was really interesting to kind of see the vision and the site selection all the way up to actually brokering the sale.
Did you do any value add multifamily? That's like an extinct subject now. You can't even find that anymore.
Yes, actually, it's kind of neat you said that. It's been the really hot capital lately. Has been, at least when I was there over summer, has been value add capital. So there have been even funds who have been coming in looking to buy value add apartments. We kind of work closely with the Orlando and Jacksonville team as well in Tampa. So they call it the Central Florida markets. So they were doing one out of Orlando that I saw close as a value add deal. So yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool to see just, like you said, a lot of different deals go down.
So now I have my personal opinion. And first of all, working in the multifamily sector is that's the strongest. It's tough to really get a lot of retail. That's going through consolidation. Industrials like a layup, but multifamily is sort of like baseball cards. Did you do any financing of build to rent? What did you think about that? Did you do any build to rent?
So our team in Tampa focused mostly on like pretty much strict multifamily. We didn't get to touch a ton of build to rent, but I know they've done it in the past. So from my perspective, I haven't got to touch much of it, but I know that they've done it in the past.
Yeah, I'm working on some build to rent now. I just closed a $60 million construction loan for, we call the Florida Garden down here, which is like.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. Surface parked, and then like 5-story over the parking. I'm working on, that was my second one with this client. I'm going to work on a third one right now. So
BTR's been really
question,
huh?
Ask me a question. You got a question, you can ask me. It's okay.
I was saying build to rent's been very popular lately, huh?
Yes. Build to rent is popular, and I'm working on a number of build to rent properties right now. It's an asset class that's really coming on. It's different than people that have been historically in the vertical apartments. But I mean, I've done garden. I was here and did high rise, mid rise. So it's just to me another flavor of multifamily. And with the way that the world is operating today, people that want to live in a house or a home-like setting may not be able to afford the down payment. So this is going to afford them the opportunity to live the American dream in a different way. What do you think? This is a loaded question. You know what? We're gonna take a quick break, and then I'm going to ask Ithan my final question, and then we'll go through the bottom line. Miami Podcast Studios. I know you're an FSU fan, but take it away anyway. Miami Podcast Studios. I love those great new videos that you put in there. I want to remind everybody that I just told Ithan I just closed my new big deal. We'll talk about that next week. I was actually sitting in the offices of the sales manager at Warren Henry when the deal closed, and they cracked up. The price did not go up. I did get a great value on my car. I guessed what it was worth within $500, of course, and got a great price, got a great vehicle. It got served up. I want to thank all the people at Warren Henry that helped me. Ismet, Sebastian, the folks on the service line. They just treated me like gold. I must admit, I brought it home. I got a Lincoln Nautilus, black on black, gorgeous car. Basically worked with them to keep my payments in line with what I had been paying before. And the minute, of course, I came home and put Mrs. Freed in the only place she ever sits, which is that back seat. And she said she wanted to trade in her car for a Nautilus too. So remember, whenever you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. They've got an Audi store up in Gainesville where they've got all the greatest, coolest Audi cars. They got a store down in Key West that sells all the great cars that they carry. I was at their flagship store at 151st and Biscayne in North Miami, where they have Land Rover, Range Rover, Jaguar, and Lincoln. The Lincoln place is so gorgeous. My car comes with, I'm not kidding, it comes with the ability to make it smell 3 different fragrances. I won't let my wife touch it because I like the new car smell, but she wanted to touch, I think she wanted to use whatever the pink one was. I don't remember. So remember, always the best price. Oh, wait, sorry. Join me, my mom. My mom loves her Lincoln. She has the baby Lincoln. Me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian, lots and lots of my friends and clients. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. And let me tell you, they really do treat you like family. I have been a client of theirs for 30 years now. And it's just like I've watched Larry grow. Eric, I actually work with Eric's. Where is that? I want to give a real shout out to Brandon Capone, who was the sales manager who helped me put my final deal together. So he's Eric Day's nephew. It's a family over there. They treat you like you're part of the family. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
We are on with Ithan Ash, the shiny brand new penny of the University of Florida Center for Real Estate, the Nathan Collier MSRE program. Nathan worked at JLL for some of the top real estate brokers, commercial real estate brokers in Florida, in their Tampa office on deals all throughout Central Florida. And he is our guest today. Welcome back, Ithan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
It's my pleasure. Oh God, you do have what it takes, kid. So now we don't rehearse this stuff. I never talk to the guests beforehand because I always like their impression. And there is no wrong answer to this, Ithan. What do you think? What do you think is the biggest opportunity in the real estate capital markets today, in the capital stack or a property type? You tell me, if you were going to be a real estate investor in multifamily, what do you think you would do today? And then I'll tell you what I think. Doesn't mean I'm right either, by the way.
Yeah, based on my limited sample size, I would kind of say the value add multifamily space has been working out really well. For those who have bought those deals, they've been very happy years later. So that's been something interesting that I've been seeing. And then kind of touching on the point you made earlier about your deal, but the build to rent space has been really, really hot, very popular with, interest rates where they are right now. And, I know they're expected to come down, but it's kind of making the home ownership a little bit out of reach for most people. So I think that build to rent element has been really adding some value. And so if I was an investor, I'd look at both of those from a lens of multifamily. That's kind of where my experience has lied.
That's a very strong answer. I think that's a very good answer. I would critique it by saying that that it's very tough to find value add. It's been consolidated and picked over and really kind of massaged, but it's out there. I would, in certain cases, call value add, certainly in Miami podcast studios will probably agree with this one. I would say that value add here in Miami is nothing more than what I would call a cash flowing land bank, something old that you tear down and build something new on. Let's see, build to rent. I think build to rent is excellent. It's something that many suburban markets are going to have more and more of. I'm working with clients that are following the expansion of the economy to what we used to call secondary markets, which are now places that are great to live and raise your kids, but you ain't going to see build to rent in South Florida anytime soon. So now my opinion of the void is that to me, the best space to be in right now would be if you could provide LP equity to these people, because they can get all the financing that they want. See, he's agreeing. He heard this at the water cooler at JLL. The construction lenders and the GSEs, the government agencies like Fannie and Freddie, they're all over the place, but a lot of the people the real estate 101 is using OPM, other people's money. So the OPM comes from the limiteds. So finding the right high net worth family offices that you can cobble together to make a great real estate fund with is really, to me, the opportunity that's out there today. I met with a couple of family office representatives today to talk to them about their interests. I mentioned this to them. They kind of nodded and said, that's a pretty good idea, because they're looking for a way to deploy their capital in a way that's risk adjusted, and with the best in class people, which is the folks that I've met and done business with through all the connections that I made. And here's the bottom line, at the University of Florida. So Ithan, I want to thank you. I want to thank Tim Becker and Nikki Wagner for, do you work with them? Are you part of their team at the center?
So I work with the MSRE ambassador team. So we work for all the faculty, and we kind of carry out any of the missions that they need us to do.
What a layup that was. So, Ethan, I'll see you in a couple of days up in Gainesville. Remind me that you wouldn't mind working in Chicago. And, that's where I got my start. Mr. Bergstrom ran a company in Chicago, and he hired me as his intern. I think it was the first hire from UF that worked for them. And so I'd like to thank Kelly Bergstrom for finding me when I was Ethan's age and helping mentor me and shape me into the real estate professional that I am today. It's a big thank you to Kelly Bergstrom and the Center for Real Estate Studies. I stay involved simply because I want to represent Kelly, the university, and Kelly's vision to lead real estate, and Nathan Collier, by the way. Nathan Collier has been wonderful to me. And Angela, she's tremendous too. So I want to thank our friends at the University of Florida. I'll be up there this week to see all the folks on the real estate board. We get together, we talk, we move and shake. What's the coach's name again?
Todd Golden.
There you go. I wasn't going to say Billy Napier. I don't anyway, so I can't believe I pulled Billy Napier. Usually I can't remember that either. For me, it was, oh my God, we won't go back that far. I want to remind everybody, contact me, Jim Freed, Sandstone Realty Advisors. I'm the founder. We just closed a $60 million loan. We're working on a bunch more. We know all kinds of lenders, all kinds of investors. We work with families to help them execute their business plans, families from across the globe. And we know great people like Ethan and people that used to be Ethan. I have contacts all over the world, thanks to my relationship at the University of Florida. I can't thank the University of Florida, John Cannon, for raising the money, and Kelly Bergstrom for leading the way with Nathan Collier and the rest of the great donors that we have at the University of Florida, helping us bring the best of real estate, best students in the real estate marketplace to market and bringing them to great companies from Bain, Blackstone. We got them everywhere. JLL, I could go on, but you'd get bored. So remember, everybody, if you missed anything in today's episode, you can check out the replays of any of my podcasts on any of my social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch. Yep, that's right, Ethan. I'm on Twitch. And Instagram. I'm still trying to get a good following on Twitch. So if you have any good friends that want to watch there, look for us at Jim Freed, at Freed on Business, or, and this part I love, head on over to the Jim Freed YouTube page, Apple Podcast or Spotify. Anywhere you're listening to your audio, you're going to find us. Check out all of our other past episodes too. Ethan, you should look up some of the people that have been on before and check out where they're from. Some of them work at places like Disney. Warren Henry, I want to thank Warren Henry Automotive for being our sponsor for, I think we're rolling on 16 years. This might be 18 years. I'd have to figure it out now that we've had Freed on Business. Of course, the Warrington the Bergstrom Center for Real Estate Studies has also been a sponsor since the inception. And this, Ethan, this applies to you. Take this with you, buddy. The person who wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Never let you be the person that finds the excuse, Ethan. I don't think we have to worry about that. I want to remind everybody to God bless you and God bless the United States of America. The rest of the podcast is yours, Miami Podcast Studios. So do your magic, and Ethan, stay with us after the show in the green room, please.